Welcome to Future Money, only show that gives you real-time insight on tech stocks, crypto, and emerging technologies before they dominate the headlines. I'm your host, Armando Pantoja, investor, futurist, and your unfair advantage in the fast-moving world of investing. Every Wednesday, 5 o'clock, we break down the moves of the big players, and we uncover what Wall Street won't tell you, and we spotlight those future trends that will help you build wealth. This week, we got a lot to talk about. Bitcoin is locked at 124,000. But whales are setting the stage for a short squeeze that could send it well past 130, but faster than anybody expects. So Ethereum is also next in line. We got the ETFs pulling in billions, and we're still calling for $8,000 to $12,000. $8,000 to $12,000. Give me a second. $8,000 to $12,000 Ethereum by the end of the year. We're also going to talk about Archer and the electric flying vehicles, Trump's initiatives. We're also going to talk about quantum computers and where things are going soon and how we can invest along the way. So give me a second here. There we go. Give me a second. Make sure I got the right thing up here. So, yeah, like I said, we got a lot to talk about. Archer actually did fall a little bit. All right, so yeah, like I said, this week the future is moving fast. We got a government shutdown. It's happening right now. It's rewriting the rule book. Bitcoin is going to rocket past 125. We got some shorts that are going to wipe out. Nvidia is marching towards a $10 trillion valuations, becoming the foundation of the entire AI economy. New gold rush happening. Also with precious metals, we're going to talk a little bit about how gold has been one of the best performing assets this year, and also how silver is undervalued. Also, we're going to talk about quantum computers, IonQ, Rigetti. All of those are fighting for the control of the next computing era. We're also going to talk about something that I saw online, a meme. Flying cars, AI supercycles, digital gold, trillion-dollar revolutions, all happening right now. But the question is, are you going to sit on the sidelines, or are you going to position yourself before it all starts to take place? This is Future Money, where the next generation of wealth is being built. It's all happening now. Happening fast, and this is where the biggest winners of 2025, 26, and beyond are made. Wednesday nights, 5 o'clock here on YouTube. So a government shutdown has happened. Normally, it's feared, right? And this is the first time I believe that I've been paying attention. I don't really know that I've seen stocks and assets actually rally when there's a government shutdown. Normally that causes fear. And it started October 1st. They still fell into past appropriation bills. So we're still roughly in a government shutdown. 900 federal workers have been furloughed, and another 700,000 are working without pay. Core services, government services, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security continue because they're mandatory, but the other agencies have paused or limited operations. So in Washington, several Senate votes they're voting to reopen the government. It's failed. Every time they've tried this failed legislation, it's still a lot of gridlock. Both parties blaming each other for the gridlock in Washington. Now, the IRS is furloughed, which may be a good thing. Nearly half its workforce, AP News, The Guardian, flight delays are increasing, especially at large airports. Now, traditional markets, shutdown normally stop the release of economic data, reports inflation, retail sales, which leave investors flying blind. So uncertainty rises. Companies start reacting fast, normally in this type of situation, but we've seen assets go up, which is kind of weird, right? I've never seen this before. So one of the things that's happened during this time is Bitcoin has shattered all-time highs, blasting past the 125 as investors rush for safety during the U.S. government shutdown. Now, billions in short positions have been wiped out overnight, and there's a big short wall right at 125, 126. Now, if we get through that short wall, a lot of shorts are going to be liquidated. And this could be the moment where Bitcoin rapidly goes to 130 on to 150, and the moment that Bitcoin really, truly, for the masses, start to be less of a speculative asset and more of a safe haven. Now, if you go back in Bitcoin's history, back when I first started, and I appreciate the super chat, you guys. I remember back in, and this is weird, crypto has had a storied history that's been weird for years. Now, when I first got into crypto 2011, I remember, and this good or bad, we're not going to say if it was good or bad, but this is what happened. Back in 2011, a lot of Bitcoin believers, now let's say 2000, it was about 2013, 14, 15. That's when Bitcoin started becoming an investment to the average person. So in those days, people would look at crypto and they would hold Bitcoin, Ethereum, or XRP or whatever, and they would pray for some type of worldwide or even localized calamity, crisis, government shutdown, fiat currency crashing, because they believed that Bitcoin was a safe haven against those crises. But what happened, what was the weirdest thing I ever saw? Now, all of crypto's history, everybody believed that. And if you looked at the charts, Bitcoin did react inversely to those situations. And then all of a sudden, COVID hit. Now, I don't know for what reason. I still don't know. Maybe somebody can explain to me. During COVID, Bitcoin and crypto in general attached to COVID, attached to the stock market. And it moved with the stock market for years. And it moved with whatever the government was doing. For example, COVID shut down a lot of things. Bitcoin crashed. Now, all the way up to that point, we would have believed that it would have been inverse to that. And it actually would have went up as crisis increased, but no, and uncertainty increased, but no, it didn't. And ever since then, we've been connected to the stock market, right? So now I believe in this cycle, we're starting to decouple from that and break free. And Bitcoin was always a safe haven. For most of its history, probably 80%, it was considered an inverse asset to something like fiat currency or the stock market. So it should rise like gold as uncertainty increases. As uncertainty increases, Bitcoin and also gold historically has always increased as uncertainty has increased. And Bitcoin should be in that group, but for the last few years, it hasn't been in that group. So now I believe that we're starting to return to Bitcoin being a safe haven. Now, $200 million in short position were liquidated in the last 24 hours. That's what got Bitcoin back to 124. Where's it at now? Let's see. Right now, kind of slow. Bitcoin's at 123, a little bit under 124, but it had touched 124 right before I got into the studio. The U.S. government shutdown actually pushed investors towards Bitcoin as a digital safe haven. Institutional demand has risen rapidly in the last few days. Standard Chartered forecasts 135 by the end of the month and up to 200,000 by the end of the year. Now, I'm going to stick with my 250. I say it's going to 250. Now, if I die on that hill, I just die on the hill. But I'm going down with the ship because like I said, as I told somebody earlier today, is that I try my best to tell the truth. Now, some people out there, they will claim calls that they never made. They'll say, hey, I made that call. Like I also talked about Oklo. Well, I also talked about all these other things. But what they done is they didn't call it out early. They called it out once the momentum hit. Then it already was up 78, it was already up 8, 9 times. Then you call it, of course, the momentum's going to push it up another 40%, and you claim to win on let's say something like Oklo or something like NVIDIA. But that's not a true win. That's a momentum play, which carries with it a greater level of risk. And I've tried my best in these last few years to be truthful. If I miss something, I say I missed it. Didn't see it, I say I didn't see it. And once I call out something and I stand by it, if I miss it, I just miss it. Now, I may miss this 250 call on Bitcoin I did 2 years ago, but I think I did pretty good if we get to 200. I mean, I called it out when Bitcoin was at 35, 40,000. So I think I did pretty good. And I really said, be honest, 100% honest, I said this summer we'd be at 250. The summer's already passed, so I technically missed that. But I did stretch it out to the end of the year because I said the tariffs and the uncertainty in Trump's presidency caused everything to be delayed by about 6 months. So I'm going to take that 6 months. End of the year, I count it as a miss. But I believe that we can still get there and it could happen fast. Now, if we go back to 2017, I was talking to my business partner about this earlier today. We were talking about our Ethereum holdings. If you go back to October of 2017, Ethereum was at about 250 of that month. By January of 18, it was at 1,400. Now that's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times increase from where it was. 500%, it was about a roughly 400% increase, a little bit under 400, about 380 increase, 380% increase in 3 months. And Bitcoin was at like 2,500, 3,000 and by the beginning of December it was at 20,000. That was roughly the same thing, 350% increase. Now, all we're asking for is 100. 80, 90% up, we're at 250. Now it's like 120. 120% up, we're at 250. And that's less than what we've seen in the past during a bull run cycle. So we still have a great chance to make it. Now, if you're just following the channel, please subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate that. If you could, if I've been making wins for you, making you money, if you've learned something from this channel or me myself, please like the video. It helps with get engagement. You got to remember, these social media platforms do not prioritize lives anymore. So the only way you're going to get the message out, the only way you're going to continue to see it is that you have to hit that like button and you have to subscribe. Let's take a look at some of these super chats. What's up? Made some money on Archer. I appreciate you, 420 Trades Smith. Yeehaw Yakes, thank you for the super chat. Prediction for SMR. We'll look at that before the end, Oliver. I think that's it for that. Yeah, drop those super chats, especially a lot of we've made 43 millionaires in the CNC. This weekend we had an event where we actually started awarding these people who've made over 10 million, over a million, over 100,000 in the group. And I was surprised how many people actually hit that milestone. And a lot of you guys have hit it outside of the group. You just listen to me, and I really appreciate that. So if you've made a lot of money, repay me with super chats. You made $1 million, 10,000, 100,000, whatever. You pay, $20 here, $10 here, and it keeps everything going, shows appreciation, but also creates a symbiotic relationship between me and you, to where I produce information, I produce learning, you change your life forever. So I would appreciate that if you guys would do that when you get a chance. So a lot of people are asking about the virtual office, virtual for the last weekend's events. You got to remember, it takes us a few days to edit the videos and get them out to you. Now, what we could do is just take the direct stream from Zoom and just dump it in there without the other cameras that we had, the higher quality, the higher audio. Now, I don't want to do that to you guys. Now, I could just give you, what I could do is just take whatever we record on Zoom and just send it to you. That wouldn't be up to the standards of my brand or our brand. So what we do is we get the editors with the multi-camera setup and the slides, so we edit it all in a concise way to where you can really get educated and learn. And it takes a few days for us to do that. So please be patient, because what I could do is, like other influencers or other figures, just dump the Zoom on you, say, that's it, I'm done. That's your recording. That's the on demand. No, I don't do that. It may cost more, it may cost a little bit extra time, but we like to have a fully produced version back to you after the event is over. It takes like 3 or 4 days to do that, so please be patient. And you can still purchase it, yeah, but we don't have the link ready until we have the videos ready. Mr. Castro, thank you for the $9.99. Again, AE Tally Construction, you are always a good person when it comes to these super chats. I really, really, truly do appreciate you. CNC is a blessing. St. Benson, I really appreciate that. Thank you for the 10. Marlon, I appreciate the $1.99. She Vet, appreciate the $9.99. Thank you guys so much for those super chats. We also got a few more in. Jared Price, $9.99. Thank you so much. Doug Newman just became a member. Marlon Scott just sent $5. I really appreciate you. Let's Talk Respiratory, $2. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this show of appreciation and thanks. Another guy put 100. Dang. Thank you so much, Isaiah. He's up 250,000, close to $1 million portfolio, Isaiah. I really, truly appreciate that $100, man. Thank you so much for that vote of confidence and also that appreciation. Thank you so much, Isaiah. I'm really excited that you got to that mark. And we always say once you get a million, the first million is the hardest to make. It's a saying out there that I really like, and I'm gonna say this saying is that 1 million is almost impossible for the average person, but 2 million is inevitable. Now, what do we mean by that? Is that if you don't mess it up or implode, the 2 million is gonna come eventually because one, you've gotten the skills to get to that million, so the second million is a lot easier. And two, once you got capital, it's easy to make the second million. So we always say once you get to 1 million, 2 million is almost inevitable. So I appreciate you again. Jay Ojereya, I think. Thank you so much for the 5-Paul Victorian. I appreciate you. Catherine, price predictions for AG mining stock. I don't have a price prediction, but I'll look into it next week. McIntosh, McTosh, 999. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys. So let's move on. I'll go back and read the other super chats eventually. When we finish. So back on the Bitcoin, $100 million in shorts were liquidated. The U.S. government pushed investors towards Bitcoin. And analysts are starting to say, which I said 2 years ago, but I'm not going to gloat. But a lot of analysts out there are now saying we're coming into a super cycle, which I said 2 years ago would probably happen. We got whale accumulation and we got steady long-term holders. That's a recipe for a super cycle. What we mean by that is that traditionally Bitcoin, that's why I told you guys a couple of years ago, I said that's your last great chance to be able to predict the Bitcoin rise or crypto rise like we did. Bitcoin has been controlled along with all of crypto by the halving cycle. Every time Bitcoin is halved, there's a few months after Bitcoin goes up. And we saw that last year. Bitcoin halved in May. We saw end of the year it's at 100,000. The halving was like 40. So we've seen that and we know what happens. But now we're in a super cycle, which means that halving cycle is gone. It will never happen again. We will never be able to predict it with that great level of accuracy that we did last time. And it will be like the stock market in which outside events trigger new, it's not going to be predictable. Something outside regulatory issues, world wars or something like that, or maybe like a change in the economy is going to trigger a new cycle instead of doing halving. The halving was easy. Just wait 4 years, know the date, and that's what it is. But now we're into a more complex cycle, much like stocks, to where it's unpredictable and there's no time frame on it. It's a lot harder to do that. That's why I told you guys that we're in a time where it's extraordinarily easy to make money. Look at all these people that's made money. Look at all these millionaires we've created. This is an unprecedented time in history. Now, if you don't execute, in a few years, you're going to look back. And it's similar to this. Our parents were in an unprecedented time in history as well, where they could buy a house for almost nothing and it go up to $1 million or $2 million rapidly over 20 years. Where they could get into a house for affordable, where they were only paying 10, 20% of their income toward it, could pay off the mortgage in 10 years and held on to the house. Now those people are multimillionaires based on the value of their homes. That will never happen again. You will never be able to buy a house that affordable and make that much income off of that house during the time that you hold it, ever. That time is done. It will never come back. And that's what a lot of those did. People who made money in the last generation through real estate, they realized that was the last time. Now you're in another time. Emerging technology is the same thing, where we can predict megatrends, we can predict asymmetric risk opportunities, and we can execute. Now, one day that will be over, and you will never do it again. Like all those people crying, the boomers took all the houses. The boomers. All the Generation Zs, we don't have any houses because the boomers. Oh, God. What about the houses? I don't have a housing. But I'm not trivializing what they're going through, but that time is over. Now, I know your grandmother bought a house for $10 a mule and a handful of coconuts. But that time is over. Now, you have to work extraordinarily hard to get your house because that's what time we're in. But luckily, you're in another time. Yeah, your house may be expensive, but you're in a time of change that we've never seen in human history. All you have to do is execute as a Generation Zer. For crying and complaining, when all you have a time, your kids will look at you and say, I can't believe those Generation Zers were in a time where you could just look at something and invest in it, and there were people online telling them what to do, and all they had to do was learn. And they could have been millionaires. Now, we don't have that chance. That's what's coming in the future. The same way Generation Zs cry about baby boomers and their homes. One day they will cry about you have been in this time, and now they don't have the chance. And you're sitting dead in the middle of it. Yeah, you got to pay a lot for a house, but you have another chance. And you have a chance to balance it out. So it's up to you. So Bitcoin has been at the heart of this macro theme that's been happening. Bitcoin is retaking to 124, closing again at Monday's all-time high of 125,700. And it's underscored how central Bitcoin is becoming the macro flows. Now, Bitcoin is now becoming the leading safe asset rotation. That's how it recaptured 124. Investors are retreating back to Bitcoin as a frontline hedge against inflation, debt, fiat debasement, and also government calamities. So shorts right now are extraordinarily vulnerable. We got a short wall at 125, 120, 124, 125 at the peak. Roughly 125, 790 is where the short wall is. With Bitcoin climbing rapidly, we got 4 billions at short around that wall. The risk of a forced close is intensifying as we get closer and closer to that wall. Once those shorts are liquidated, they all have to buy back. And in that buyback, we're spiking up to 129, 130 very rapidly. If we're able to sustain and pass the 125, 700 mark, we're going to see a rapid growth from that point to 130. It may happen overnight. It may happen in a few hours, but that's how fast that move from 126 to 130, 132 is going to be. It's going to happen in a matter of hours. It won't even be a day, because once those shorts get liquidated, they have to buy back. There's buying pressure onto the asset. And then people, and also the hype that's coming into it, we're going to see 132 rapidly. Now, metal markets are also echoing what's happening with Bitcoin. But Bitcoin is the main signal, I believe. Gold soared past $4,000. Silver hit $49.57, pointing to all that capital that's flowing into hard assets. Now, the thing about silver is that silver is trading at a low ratio, 85 to 1, well above the historic 40 to 60. This means that silver right now, that's why I bought a bunch of silver, and I showed you guys I bought it. I'm still buying silver, is that silver has a huge upside right now, because all the focus and all the energy and all the attention is going all the attention is going to gold. So they're leaving silver behind. Silver is always like a stepchild, but it's the second most valuable metal, more or less, that the average person owns. Silver. Gold is way ahead of it, but silver is next. Now, silver's move is going to happen quickly as well, because there's only so much gold in the world. But we have to, historically, silver has been second only to gold. And the gap between silver and gold is wider than it's ever been in history. That gap has to close. Now, it's not going to be like Oklo. You're not going to buy some silver and make 100 times your money. My son's in here too watching, so. But it's not going to be, you're going to make 100 times your money. But the thing about silver, as it reduces, it's low risk. I mean, it's not going to zero either. And secondly is that, and I hate to say this because people always think I'm a conspiracy theorist, a little bit maybe, but in a time of mass crisis, like we got closest ever in my life to in COVID, silver can be used to buy products and services that could be what saves your life. Now, if the United States fall, I hope God doesn't allow that to happen, but if it does, fiat currency is worthless. None of you got, let's say the electricity goes off, all your Apples, iPads, iPhones, worthless. Goes back to gold, and you'll be able to trade. The only thing you'll be able to trade, especially in the short term while the government refixes itself or comes back together, is gold. Gold and silver. That's it. You'll be able to, and the thing about gold is that an ounce is $400, so it's hard to divide that. You can't buy a loaf of bread with gold. It's too much, But silver you can, because silver for an ounce is $40. So if you separate the ounce into four, maybe into grams, You can use a gram of silver, which is $8 to $12, and maybe they can buy you groceries, or it can buy you passage on a ship, or whatever it is. But let's say that's only a less than a 1% of 1% chance that's going to happen in our lifetime. But it's something that does protect you against a massive downside. And the good side, the good thing about this is that silver will continue to go up. So you have something that hedges against a bad, ultimate downside, but also it's going up in value, right? So I think silver and gold, precious metals, are always a good choice. Just as a part of your portfolio, just in case everything goes bad. And then the good side of it is that it always goes up in value. So you're not going to lose any money. So why wouldn't you invest some money into precious metals? So the game has changed. Most people react to headlines. Insiders in the CNC are already making their next move. That's exactly what we do in the Chestnut Checkers group, is that it's not a chat room. We're not giving out signals like, another place is like, there's rooms out there to just give out signals, right? Buy this stock, sell this stock, buy this stock. Now, we do that in there as well. Not as much, but we do it. We have groups for day trading. But our group is centered around education and community. It's where future millionaires are built in real time. You get direct insight into moves that matter, where capital is flowing, which assets are heating up, how to position yourself before the crowd even knows what's coming. Now, if you're serious about mastering the next era of money, DM me the word CNC or go to jointhecnc.com. You can see it here on the screen. Jointhecnc.com and you'll get access to our community. And we do have, like I said, we have a money back guarantee. You get in there, you don't like it, ask for your money back, we'll give it back to you. And that's what I'm saying is that I'm pretty sure you will. We got 43 millionaires. We've given out awards over the weekend. I'm going to put some pictures in the CNZ as well. We give out maybe 100 people have passed over 100,000. But we have one guy this weekend got to 10 million. He's the first person ever to get over 10 million. So let's talk a little bit about quantum computer stocks. Then we're going to talk about NVIDIA. And we're going to talk about Archer. So let's check the, first let's check the super chat. So thank you, Justine. He said, your acting skills, appreciate your acting skills. Gross Reality, thank you, Armando. You had me turn 7,000 into 22,000 because of you. Thank you so much, Gross Reality. Armando, New York virtual event was awesome. Thank you, Justine. I really appreciate you. Nice guy, message retracted. I guess you got a little bit shy, but thank you for the 5. Bernard Turner, thank you for the 10. I really appreciate that. Nice guy did another 5. Thank you so much. Brahim, thank you for the invaluable information. Really appreciate that. Ian McTosh, I think we already got you, but $9.99, I really appreciate that super chat. We got another one. Could you talk about open doors technology, how they're trying to revolutionize the housing market, make things easier for buyers? $4.99. Now I'm telling you right now, Open Door is not trying to make things easier for buyers. They're trying to make as much profit as they can. Either way, it doesn't matter. They don't care. But I just want to correct that. But I haven't really focused on Open Door. But I do believe Open Door is focusing a lot on algorithmic predictions in the housing market and buying houses with algorithms that can predict if an area is going to go up in value and buying them cheap and selling them high. But I do think that's the future in the market. I think real estate agents don't have a lot. Maybe for luxury homes, they'll last, but on average everyday homes, I don't think that realtors are going to last much longer. But I do think they'll last in the high end, because people want, when you're buying a $5 million house, you want somebody to guide you. It doesn't matter about algorithms. But on the lower end houses, to keep costs low, especially with the rising house prices, I think that people are going to want to use services like Open Door and other services like that. But I think it's a good project. I just haven't looked at it. That's something that I don't follow, but I will start to take a look. I know it's went up a lot, but I can't call out all the winners. I call out some. Somebody said you made me a bunch of money on Quantum. I appreciate you, Quantum Queso. I guess you changed it into Quantum Queso. E. Martinez, welcome to the castle. I appreciate you. So somebody else just says, when are we receiving a link from a recording from New York City? I'll reiterate what I just said. I don't think you was on here, but it takes us a few days to edit the videos. Remember, we had a multiple camera set up. And we also had a live stream. So one camera was live stream, so we have to edit those. Now, I could just dump the Zoom recordings into a folder and give it to you. But I think you would rather wait the few days for us to edit it, drop the presentations in, and also clear up the audio so it's crystal clear. I think you'd rather wait. We need about 3 or 4 days from that. We just got home Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Thursday sometime you'd have the video sometime tomorrow. It takes us a while to do that. So it's not instant. We could just dump you to Zoom and just walk away, but I try not to do that because I don't believe people get the full educational experience. We break it down into modules, break it down into each speaker. We add their slides back in so you have a clear view of the slides. And then we also clean up the audio and the video so that it's clear. So it takes a little bit of time to do that. So give us another day, day and a half, and we'll give you those videos. You can also buy the videos. If you haven't, we'll send out an email later. Somebody says, do you still believe in Ordi? Yeah, I still believe in Ordi. So let's move on. So quantum computers, quantum leap, why quantum stocks are surging after a Department of Energy deal. Now, the Department of Energy just put quantum computer back in the spotlight a week or so ago with a groundbreaking partnership. IonQ, Honeywell, and others are now tied to government-backed programs. Now, investors are asking, is this the start of a massive quantum run or just a spike? Now, I want to warn people that quantum is moving too fast. There's bound to be a drawdown. I don't know when. I actually predicted the Oklo drawdown perfectly. I don't know if you guys saw that. As I posted on Instagram, and I said Oklo was going to fall to 112 and then it was going to rebound back up. I think it fell to like 113 and now it's back to 135, I think. Let me see. Where's Oklo? Yeah, I actually timed that pretty perfectly, thanks to my team. 134, yeah. So it actually, if you look at it, it went right down. It went down to right down to like it went all the way down to 113, like 110. Yeah, it got down to 110 right below. I'm sorry, 110. I called it out at 112. I said that would be the bottom, and I would acquire as much as you can around that number. And now it's back up to like 134. So that was a chance that you had too. And if you want to, some of you guys aren't following me on YouTube or Instagram, I would suggest you to subscribe to the channel right now, and also go to Instagram at Tall Guy Tycoon and follow me there, and also on Twitter as well, because I put this stuff across the platforms. Like it's not synced. So some of the quicker stuff is on Twitter or X. It's at _ Tall Guy Tycoon. And some of the other stuff, the visual stuff, is on Instagram, and I do a lot of the longer form video content here. So I would suggest to follow me across all platforms. But back to what I was saying, is that there's bound to be a retraction in quantum computers. Now, the Department of Energy has partnered with IonQ and Honeywell. A lot of people don't know Honeywell is a dark horse in this quantum computer race. Now, I don't believe that it's going to go up as much as IonQ, but it is a quantum computer play. For years, Honeywell was the most advanced on developing and advancing quantum computers of anybody. Now, IonQ and a lot of them have caught up, but they were way ahead. Like 2 years ago at an event, I said Honeywell. I thought they were going to do well, and I still think they will, but I think IonQ is outpacing them, so we just have to be careful. But it's, like I said, it's smart to invest money across all of these quantum computer plays. Quantum computing is so early, we don't know who's the winner is going to be. Now, I believe it's going to be IonQ, but I'm not just investing all my money that's allocated for quantum computers in IonQ, because D-Wave may make a big advancement one day, or Honeywell, or Qubit, or anything else out there, QBTS, anything. So it's smart to money across all of these and a little bit of money into the quantum computer and uranium ETFs, just in case, because the theme itself will not fail. But individual stocks in the theme could fail. So you have to diversify and manage against risk. Can't go all into one. We don't know who's going to win. Now, I put most of my money in IonQ, but I still diversified across all of those stocks just in case. And I'm willing to change my mind and rebalance if things change. So somebody put up a meme, and I wish I could bring it up, but there was a meme online. It was on a stock page, and I just was scrolling, and I saw it come up on my Instagram. Decon Auto Detailing, thank you, Armando, following you for a while, bought both of your books. Is there a chance you can go over an exit strategy for when everything goes parabolic? No, not right now, but I appreciate But yeah, I can do that. Not now though. We'll do it one day. But I appreciate the $9.99. So back to what I was saying is that that it was a picture, and they were like IonQ, Qubit, and what's the other company? D-Wave. And they said these are the companies that's been skyrocketing in stocks. Then they showed the headquarters of these companies, small headquarters. And then they made a joke and laugh talking about it's a big scam, like they do everything. Because people called crypto a scam for years. Look where it's at. People called the internet a scam. Look where it's at. I mean, whenever something comes out of nowhere, there's people. We call it the anchor bias. It's actually in the new book we talk about that. People are anchored because of a coping mechanism, and also because their world is built on today. They don't want to change. Especially as they get older, they don't want things to change, and because if you don't understand your own anchor bias, you will make horrible decisions because you won't see what's coming next. And all of us have that. Every one of us. We don't want things to change. If I've been opening up my computer every day, I've been doing my work, and everything's been fine. And one day I open up and the computer says, you got to upgrade to the new version of Windows. I don't want to do that. What if it messes something up? What if it changes? So what if I don't understand the next thing? I don't want to go through that learning curve of understanding the new interface. That makes people angry. They don't want to change. Now that's something you have to change, so you have to. But you're thinking you don't have to change that. I don't have to learn nothing new. I could just believe whatever's happening today will continue and everything else is silly. And that thinking, that bias in your head can cause you to make horrible decisions because you won't see what's coming next. You won't see what the younger generation is doing. You won't see how life, work, and play is changing over the next few years because you're anchored by today. So those people saw those headquarters of the biggest quantum computer companies in the world, and they said they look like, and this is what they don't understand, they are research facilities. They're not 30-story buildings. They look like warehouses. They're flat warehouses in the middle of nowhere. And to them, that look like they're all scams. They're not 50-story buildings in the middle of downtown, so they must be scams. Quantum computers are mostly research now. Just like the early stages of Google, Amazon was in his dad's garage, and even Apple started in garage. When they start, they're very, very, they're in these types of places because they're cheaper and they're trying to conserve money. And also their research, they're not into the corporate side of things yet. Where, when a company grows, the corporate side starts to take over most of the operations, and development is small. But right now, the development is most of it. So of course, it's going to be in a place like that. But they don't understand it and they also don't want to learn anything new. So they're anchored in today, and they look for ways to make fun. That's another thing that people do. So IonQ is doing extraordinarily well. D-Wave, Rigetti, a lot of volatility. Be careful. They had some skepticism. Even NVIDIA CEO came out and said quantum computers was years away. I do not believe that. I think we're a lot closer than most people think. We're a couple of years away. Just like with AI, before ChatGPT dropped, people said the AI was years away, including myself. I believe we were a lot farther away. One thing, one spark can change everything. And it's like ChatGPT, and I believe we're going to see that spark in quantum computers sometime next year, where one thing happens and it's going to change everything. Now, every financial shift creates two types of people: the people that are watching and other ones that are making it happen and executing and profiting. Inside the Chestnut Checkers group, we don't just react to markets, we predict them. Members learn how to position early in stocks, crypto, emerging assets before the masses. This is where you stop chasing and you stop positioning yourself with precision ahead of the masses. If you're ready to play offense in the new economy, DM me the word CNC or hit the link I'm going to put in the chat right now and start thinking like it's the future right now. Sometime when I'm writing dates down and stuff, I put like 10/8/2026, and people are like, oh, you got the date wrong. I'm like, oh, okay. Because all day I've been thinking about 26, 27, 28, even 2030. Sometimes I forget what day it is, because I'm always thinking ahead. And sometimes I put the wrong dates ahead, because the whole day I've been thinking about 2026. So by the time I write something down, I put 26. and I forget what year I'm in. So I think it's best to think like that. Now I want to talk about Archer. It went up and it came back down because a lot of people were expecting Tesla to announce a partnership with Archer, but that doesn't matter anyway. And I'm going to tell you why. It did cause a spike in Archer, 10, 15 points, but now we're back down to where we were before that spike. But electric taxis have already had a political boost. And this is something that's bigger than Tesla. That's what people don't realize. They were expecting Tesla, but the biggest thing that happened to Archer in the last few months is President Trump's new executive order, which fast tracks electric flying vehicles and their approvals. So it pushed Archer and Joby into the spotlight. Archer soared on the Tesla rumors, but it fell back down. But the broader race to dominate the skies is just beginning. And once the White House does something, it's actually called the White House. White House is dropped acceleration. Trump is unleashing, trying to make America dominant with drones. And you know they've already had pilot for 2 days ago. Archer and Joby both had to government officials. They did a presentation to where they showed how these vehicles work. Now, one of the things that shocked a lot of people was not how stable the aircraft were, not how beautiful they were, not how energy efficient they were, but the noise level was extremely low. That's very important when you have to use these in cities, noise pollution. You don't want to land on somebody's roof or house and then it wakes up the entire neighborhood. You want to be quiet. Sometimes these little variables like this are what makes the technology adopted and not adopted, not because of the technology's ability to do something, but how is it going to affect people? That's what I call the shovel paradox in my new book. How is it going to affect people? And is the cost of using this technology worth what the technology's benefits are? Now, if the cost is not always money. It could be noise pollution, or it could be something that's hard to use, or it could just be something else. But it has to the benefit has to outweigh that. And when you add in cost and air noise pollution stuff, sometimes it's not worth it. But because we've reduced that, when Joby and Archer has reduced that, now we're starting to see a lot of people looking forward to adopting these types of programs. Now, Archer, I believe that people always ask me why I chose Archer over Joby. Now, I'm not putting down Joby. Joby's going to do well. It's part of the theme, so it's going to do well. I just think Archer has more potential. And the reason why is because they have real test flights, public demonstration, confirmed partnerships already. They have the confirmed partnership to provide air taxis for the 2028 Los Angeles. Joby doesn't have that. They have aircraft that already have hit 10,000 feet in the air, flown 55 miles, and they're praised for being nearly silent in flight. Archer aircraft are more silent than Joby. They're both quiet, but the decibels of noise that come out of Archer Aviation's aircraft is less than Joby. Now, some people may not understand that, but that's a big difference. Both technologies are equal, except one's quieter and one doesn't disrupt as much as the other. Now, Joby still matters. It's strong on the engineering side. They have a lot of early FAA clearances, and they have some partnerships as well, like Toyota, Delta Airlines. Now, both are going to do well, but I think Archer is just a little bit farther ahead and has a lot more room to grow. Now, the smart move is to put your money in both. It's opposite ends of the same innovation race. Archer for execution and visibility, Joby for technical depth, stability. Long-term investors can benefit from holding both. Spread and exposure, that makes the risk is lower, so you don't have to choose which one is going to win, and they both will probably do extraordinarily well. Now, it's not about, these stocks are not going to pop out next week or the week after. It's going to be a long time up into the 2028 Olympics. Probably 26, 27, we're going to see the most growth in those two stocks. But that's where we're headed, and I think both are great plays. Now, last thing I want to talk about is NVIDIA is heading to a $10 trillion future. And I've always said I think NVIDIA should be held in every portfolio. It's on the path to become the world's first $10 trillion company. We're at like 180 right now. As AI moves forward, NVIDIA moves with it roughly. NVIDIA is the core of the AI infrastructure. Every AI model from chatbots, humanoid robotics runs on NVIDIA's hardware. So I still think it's going to 10 trillion. Another thing I want to talk about is my book is now available. Can we bring it up on the screen? Let me see. I can get it here. So I'm trying to be a bestseller. So my publisher called me last week and said I'm on track to be a New York Times best-selling author, but I need you guys' help. Let me see where we at. So there's 2 books out now. We have to remove the second one. One book is the old book. It's the red and black book. Don't buy that one. That one's the old one. That's probably what's going to come up here. So we want you to buy this new one. It's pre-order. I don't know if you can see it on the screen. Yeah. Let me put it up here. Yeah, so you can see it. So this is the new book. So it's a hardcover. Pre-order it. And let's try to get me on the New York Times bestseller list. So it's a great book. It takes the first book, and we had, it's actually published by Wiley, one of the top 3 publishing companies in the world. So they saw the value, and they also saw the excitement around the first book. So we did a 2-book deal, a rewrite of the first one. The editors helped me expand some of the ideas, the charts and everything that are in the book. Also, I've added some more of my stories, some of my experiences that help you understand these topics. And then I have a second book coming out called The Future of Wealth, how wealth and finance will change over the next 50 years, and how to preserve the American dream. That's the second book. But this book is first. The next one comes out late next year. But I would encourage you guys to get it. It does give you a way on how to recognize emerging trends before they become mainstream. This is how a lot of the wealthy people become rich, is that you have to capitalize on opportunities early. We walk you through the mindset. We walk you through how to see it. We walk you through charts, patterns and cycles, how to see all these things unfolding and help you get ahead of the masses. So with that being said, this wraps up today's episode of Future Money. Remember, the future doesn't wait, and neither should you. The biggest shifts in wealth happen before the headlines hit. Join me every Wednesday, 5 o'clock right here, as we track the next big moves in tech, crypto, and emerging innovation. I'm Armando Pantoja. Stay sharp, stay early, always follow the future.